Donald Trump is working to end the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian government is ready for a peaceful settlement of the war, but on appropriate, just terms. Meanwhile, President Biden persuades Donald Trump to continue to support Ukraine. So, what is Donald Trump talking about the war in Ukraine and the peaceful settlement of this conflict, and how did President Biden try to convince Trump to continue to support Ukraine? Donald Trump said that he would like to see the war in Ukraine ended in the nearest future. He said that both Ukraine and Russia should negotiate a peaceful settlement of the war in Ukraine. However, he did not specify how exactly he would try to settle this war. Also, he said that lots of people have been killed during the beginning of this conflict. However, we haven't heard and haven't seen any kind of official plan of Donald Trump on how he would end this war in Ukraine in 24 or 48 hours. Meanwhile, Marco Rubio would become his Secretary of State, and Mike Waltz would work as Trump's national security advisor. However, the Wall Street Journal previously reported that Donald Trump would like to freeze this conflict by creating a demilitarized zone along the border between front line and between Ukrainian army and Russian one. However, this demilitarized zone would be patrolled by the European troops or even British one. However, Donald Trump did not negotiate this plan with US allies, with UK and European leaders. Also, it seems like Mike Waltz has another plan how he can move forward with ending the war in Ukraine. So Mike Waltz, Trump's future national security advisor, in his recent article for The Economist, said that Donald Trump can threaten Vladimir Putin to seriously settle the war. Otherwise, Trump will provide Ukraine with all what is needed to prevail in this conflict. President Trump can provide Ukraine with additional weapons and could allow Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia with Western-made weapons. That's how President Trump can force Vladimir Putin to negotiate a peaceful settlement of this conflict in the nearest future. Also, many Western experts are confident that there is a big possibility for a direct confrontation between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, because Vladimir Putin would not agree to any kind of appropriate terms of this deal. He would like to see Ukraine surrendering its terrain to Russia. That's why Donald Trump can go after Vladimir Putin, can turn against him and have a big confrontation against Vladimir Putin and put more pressure on Putin to end this war with Ukraine on appropriate terms. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden had a meeting with Donald Trump. He discussed the war in Ukraine and peaceful transfer of power. Biden tried to convince Donald Trump to continue to support Ukraine. As a statement was made by Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. Sullivan says that his team will work with Donald Trump and will work with Trump's team to convince Trump's team and to convince Donald Trump to continue to support Ukraine, because supporting Ukraine, aiding Ukraine is in the US, is in the American best national security interests. And that's why the United States should continue to support Ukraine for as long as it takes and for as long Ukraine it needs to prevail over Russia's war of aggression. Also, President Biden will try to move forward with another allocation package of funding for Ukraine. However, it is unlikely that US Congress would allow Ukraine to have additional funding this year, because Republicans have gained majority both in the House and Senate. Also, House Majority Leader Mike Johnson says that he would not vote for another funding for Ukraine because Donald Trump would bring this war closer to its end. But we have to see how exactly Trump would do that, because President President Trump has not outlined the specific plan on how exactly he will try to end this war in Ukraine in the nearest future. That's why we all are waiting for a concrete plan. Otherwise, at the same time, President Zelenskyy has its plan to end the war in Ukraine. President Zelenskyy proposed to put more pressure to Russia, to force Russia to make concessions to Ukraine and to reach a good, just peace deal, which would bring just peace to Ukraine, and prosperity and long-term security guarantees are needed also for Ukraine to ensure that Russia will not attack Ukraine again in the future. At the same time, Bloomberg reported that European allies are urging Biden to support Ukraine even more before Donald Trump enters his office. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Europe with his urgent visit, and European leaders are urging Biden to allow Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia before Donald Trump enters office, and to increase the support for Ukraine, to provide Ukraine with all what is needed. That's why European leaders are urging European allies and American allies to do more to support Ukraine with all what is needed for Ukrainian victory. And on the other hand, Jake Sullivan, Biden's national security advisor, said that his team are working around the clock to provide Ukraine with all what is needed, and he said that they will try to put Ukraine in the best possible position for negotiations with Russia. Meanwhile, at the same time, Pentagon officials and US Department of Justice officials are shocked by President Trump's nomination for the heads of these two agencies. So the Pentagon officials are shocked with Pete Hegseth, who could lead Pentagon. However, he does not have any kind of experience of leading such big organizations. That's why many Pentagon officials are skeptical of his nomination. However, it is also a big question on whether US Senate will approve Pete Hegseth as head of Pentagon, and whether US Senate will approve also Gates as head of the US Department of Justice. So we will see, and we will analyze this news. However, we will also have to wait for another statements from Trump and his team on how they would like to end this war in Ukraine, and what is exactly their plan to end this war on just terms, to ensure Ukraine's prosperity, security in the long-term perspective, and to enable to deter another Russian aggression in the future. That's all for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay with us on YouTube, and glory to Ukraine!